Meanwhile, President Donald Trump's push to take over Greenland escalates into a trade dispute that's sparking anger across Europe. Trump says starting February 1st, he will impose 10% tariffs on NATO allies that have sent military forces into Greenland. Now, that list includes Denmark, France, Finland, Germany, and the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, and the UK. Trump plans to boost the tariffs to 25% in June. He says they will stay in place until the U.S. reached a deal to take over Greenland. Now, in a message to the Norwegian Prime Minister, Trump tied his push for Greenland to missing out on the Nobel Peace Prize. The message reads in part, quote, "Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars, plus I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace." Now, EU ambassadors yesterday held an emergency meeting to discuss their response to Trump's tariff threats, which some leaders called blackmail. One option on the table, a powerful economic countermeasure dubbed the trade bazooka. So let's bring in Philip Luck, Economics Program Director and Scholl Chair in the International Business. Philip, what exactly is the trade bazooka? What is it? And if the EU goes through with it, what could it mean for the U.S.?
Yeah, this bazooka is the anti-coercion instrument, which the EU adopted in 2023, actually in part because of trade tensions during the first Trump administration. What this basically you should think of as it's a collective defense measure that if any one member state or the bloc as a whole is being coerced for diplomatic reasons, they can respond with tariffs, quotas, other measures to put economic pain back on the person that's coercing them. This is something that could certainly be used. The French have certainly advocated for this. But even if they don't use this, they already have a lot of tools that they've started to set up over the past year, including about $100 billion package that would hit a lot of U.S. agriculture and other products.
So Phil, Trump says his tariffs on European nations will take effect February 1st. Who will those duties likely hurt the most, do you think?
Here in the United States, so I would say that this is a really big deal because the United States-European trade relationship is the largest trade relationship in the world. We're talking about a $1.5 trillion annually. So we import everything from them, from machinery to cosmetics to pharmaceuticals to industrial tools. Will affect both consumers and U.S. exporters who use a lot of inputs from Europe into their manufacturing output. So it'll not only increase prices at home, but will reduce our competitiveness abroad.
We're going to likely feel it in our wallets. And we've seen trade spats between the U.S. and European countries before. Is this time different, do you think?
It certainly is from the European perspective, and I think the administration here in Washington is starting to realize that. I think it's different for 2 reasons. One, by singling out 6 European countries, this administration is really undermining the core bedrock of the European project, which is a common market. Europe really thinks of that as existential for their existence as a common market. The second is the reason of the coercion. Europe is okay, generally speaking, with trade spats where they don't like our trade policy, we don't like theirs, and we try to come somewhere in the middle. This is about the sovereignty of a European country. And so not only the reason for the coercion, but the type of coercion are really red lines for Europe.
Philip Luck, thank you so much. Great to see you.